What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video I want to talk about the stocks that you need to be watching tomorrow, which is kind of like a Monday because today is Monday, but Monday the markets were closed, so tomorrow is really like a Monday after an extra long weekend. So in this case, we really want to be paying attention to what these stocks do because there's extra time for people to do research over these long weekends. There's more time for news to spread, and I'm just really excited. So you got to be paying attention to those stocks that we're doing well on Friday because they're going to be moving on Tuesday, and there's probably going to be some opportunities that we can take advantage of. So I'm going to be talking about that today in this video. If you guys have been following me for a while, you probably noticed that I got a haircut. Well, actually, I got all of them cut, but sorry, that was a dad joke. I can't. Oh, God. Yeah, I got a haircut, so don't bully me in the comments. Don't take me back to my middle school days. I can't handle it. All right, let's go talk about some stocks. All right, guys, so I'm here on my computer, and the stock I always talk about is one that you guys still want to keep watching because this is TSNP, favorite stock of all time. Well, at least up until this point. Now I might have a new favorite one, but we'll talk about that in a second. So you can see here that if we go look at the 1 month chart, it actually was unable to break past this resistance here, which, you know, typically that's a bad thing. So if we draw this line here, it kind of bounced off that closing price around 22 and really was not able to rip through that. So we would need to see it break through this, I feel like, for it to continue to go on up, and it could definitely do that, but I am going to need a little bit more confirmation on that. So in the meantime, I'm just looking to do those predictable dip buys on this stock. So I believe this tiny trade here, I believe I got in here on a dip buy, or maybe it was on one of, no, I think I got in here, and I sold here, and then I got back in here. I got a bad fill, and I ended up selling here, something like that. So you can see, I mean, I'm definitely not perfect when I'm making these trades, but there's definitely an opportunity on this stock every single day. We have the investor call coming up on Friday. I believe it's Friday night after the market is closed. So I typically don't like to hold through investor calls just as a policy because you never know what they're going to talk about. And a lot of times the stock falls after the investor call, even if they release really good news. So maybe in this case, they're going to talk about the Block 30 absorption. That's some I've been hearing some murmurings about that. So if you don't know what that is, definitely go do some research on it. But I'm not going to hypothesize. I'm not going to speculate before they actually talk about that. But definitely be watching for my summary of that call. I'm going to be doing that as soon as the call happens on Friday night. And yeah, be looking out for that. But I mean, in the meantime, it's still going to provide some short-term opportunities. If you're holding long-term, again, nothing has changed. But this stock is definitely big up there on my watch list. Next one, obviously, I want to talk about really quickly is MITI. This one is an absolute banger. Again, you can see I'm holding 70,000 shares still. If you haven't watched my videos, go watch some of my previous ones about this stock. But people are realizing the value, and the word is spreading, and I have a feeling it's probably going to continue to go up tomorrow. Again, we never know what could happen. Maybe we get that dip buy that you guys were all looking for, and this is definitely a long-term hold. I truly believe this stock can be dollars within a few years, so I plan on holding my shares as long as I can. If we get a serious overextension, you know, it gaps up to 50 cents, I'll probably take some off the table and look to dip buy and get more shares so I can get that up to like 100,000. That would be ideal for me. Definitely do the research on this stock. It's a big one. And then we get into some of the top gainers. This one went absolutely crazy. We can see it went up, you know, if we go to the 2-day chart on the 1-minute candles. I mean, this thing just kind of accelerated, man. It was like kind of like an exponential curve, and it really went crazy into close. After hours didn't continue spiking up, but this probably would have been a decent overnight. I expect this to gap up on Tuesday, but I mean, we'll have to see, and I think it can continue to run, or it could have a big panic out of the gap up and have a nice dip buy out of that. So that is what I expect out of this stock. That is what I would be looking for on this stock. It's up a lot. I probably wouldn't look to chase this, but if we get a nice gap up and then a panic, shorts cover off the panic, and then you know, we get a bounce off that would be ideal. So that's what I'm looking for on this stock. OBSV, this one, I think it went up. Yeah, it went up a decent amount in after hours, after the closing price, and then in the morning it kind of continued and held that and spiked up, but then didn't really do too much all day. I mean, it went from 350s all the way up to, I guess, 440 area, and then came back down a little bit. But I mean, it held those gains pretty nicely, so I expect this one to continue. That would be my personal guess. So I'm definitely going to be looking for some opportunities on this one. I'm not going to force this. If it's just trading mid-range, I would need to see, you know, a nice breakout. If we go to the 1-year chart, you can see it's kind of in this area. Let me draw it for you guys just so you can see a little bit better. So this is where I'm seeing kind of the resistance where it's bounced before. So right around that 450 area. So it's really not surprising that this stock failed right off of that area. You can see, I mean, several times it's failed to break past that. So if it breaks past that, I honestly think it has room up to, you know, 5. And if it breaks 5, could test 6. Then if it tests 6, man, we could see this thing hitting 730, 750 area. So definitely be looking for that. And again, just look at the chart history if you want to know where the support and resistance levels are, because that is the most likely turning point. So you never want to be buying right as it's approaching that, because it could easily fail. But if it breaks out past that, it's a good place to buy and then risk off of that previous level. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at stocks. AVGR, this one was going really, really hard. You can see this was up big a while back in the year, but I mean, it did pretty nicely. Went up in pre-market a ton, and then, you know, held those gains fairly nicely, I would say. It appears to hold that level right there at 140. So depending on what this does, you know, if it holds that 140 level, continues to kind of trend upwards, it might start to squeeze shorts a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens on this one, but I'm definitely excited to see what happens. SENS, this one was up big in after hours the previous day, and then spiked a little bit in market open, and then just kind of came back down, but held the gains nicely overall, still well over $1. So this could continue to run. We've seen that with stocks like BNGO. This stock, man, it just won't quit. Congrats if you've been holding it long for a while. This is not one that I could personally hold long. I would not feel comfortable with it, but you can see here, once it was able to break out past that level, I believe I talked about this in a previous video. Once it broke out past that level, even though it closed below it, it closed right near it, and I think it gapped up and just continued to spike. So I don't know if this is where it fails. I don't know if this is the day we see a huge red day on BNGO, or if it just continues to squeeze and you know, squeeze those shorts out. So we'll have to see on this one, but I'm definitely going to be watching it, because this one is making multi-day moves. You can see it's been a runner for several days now. I mean, ever since it was in here, you've been able to make some money. I mean, this stock is up a ton, man. It's up from 50 cents to $10, almost $10. What is that? 2,000%? I mean, that's crazy. That's incredible. If you've been holding long this time, that's awesome. I personally would take some gains, but you know, I guess it's up to you. CHNR. This one, I believe this right here is a misprint because this is right where the closing price is. And if I hover over this candle, you can see it says 3:59:58 p.m. So I think that was the last print. And then for whatever reason, they decided to throw that here. So I think it really is up here. This is where it ended after hours. So I mean, anything that goes this crazy in after hours is usually going to be doing something in pre-market and then potentially continuing on. It has a chance of failing, but definitely be watching this one. Definitely going to be doing something during pre-market that we want to keep our eyes on. PIXY is another one that was up big, only starting in I guess after hours on Friday. So you can see this thing absolutely spiked, went all the way up to the 370s, and held those gains pretty nicely, man. It didn't break down under those levels here at like 325. So if it can hold that level and break after hours high in pre-market, and then continue on up, or you know, at least maintain those gains, stay above 325, and break that during as soon as market opens on Tuesday, that would be a pretty good sign, and I might look to buy that breakout. You just have to be careful, because this has a history definitely of kind of some failed spikes, if that makes sense. You can see pretty much every time it spikes up, it dies. And you can see there's some big wicks on those candles. Big wicks means the price might go up a lot, but there's a ton of shorts that instantly cut it back down. And also part of that is probably because this kind of looks like a bag holders chart. So there's probably people who bought it in the 70s, or who bought it, you know, maybe dip bought it in the 30s thinking they were getting a great deal, or dip bought it here at 17 thinking they were getting a great deal. And now that it's down to the 270s, they're still holding. So any day that there's a spike, any day that it spikes up, they're like, ooh, I'm getting at least some of my money back. I'm selling hard. And then it just tanks the price again. So that's what you want to, what you should be looking for on charts like this, because a lot of times when it's just a gross chart, every time it has a spike, it's going to fail because there's bag holders, and the shorts know there's bag holders, so they short aggressively into those spikes because they're very confident that it's going to fail. So Probably that's what's going to happen with this if I had to assume. So I mean, this might be a better short play than a long play, but you know, depending on what it does, it might give a nice little spike if there can be a mini breakout. But definitely be extremely conservative on this stock because I would say that the 1 year chart is pretty darn ugly. So just be aware of that when you're looking to trade this. The last one I want you guys to have on your watch list is OZSC, and this one, if you've been keeping an eye on it, man, this is a I think this was a 000 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was only 00. Was it 000 at one point? I guess it was only 00. I guess that's the lowest it got. But I mean, you could see this thing was pretty much worthless, and then out of nowhere, it spiked all the way up to 6.5 cents. And when that happens, typically you see some big panic days, which gives really good dip buying opportunities. And you can see here, I mean, that's what happened on this. There were some really good panics. I mean, look at that panic. Look at the volume on that, bro. That is insane. Beautiful dip buying opportunity right there. When you see that much volume on the bounce, you know that's a pretty good indication that you're going to get at least some type of little bounce there because there's a lot of buying power. There's a lot of shorts covering there. Same thing here. When you get that many red candles and then a huge green volume candle on the bottom, that's typically a good sign. It's the bottom. Same thing right here. So be looking for some bounces on this stock. I guess the last one that you should still be watching is Vdrm. This had kind of a little red day. Wow, I guess did that fade 50%? I guess this just kind of faded all day. At this point, it might not even have a huge panic. But I mean, if this thing breaks under a penny or something, you could see a nice quick panic that you could look to dip buy. Again, dip buying is my favorite strategy. It has the best risk reward and best immediate returns. It's the type of trade where you can, make 10, 20, 30, 100% in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Again, here you can see if you would dip bought this Vdrm dip buy right here, you make 100% in 15 minutes. So that's the type of potential this play has. Now that it's, again, multiple red days in a row, shorts are kind of in control. I mean, we might see some covers that causes, a little mini bounce, but probably not going to be any huge panics unless it breaks that 1 cent psychological mark. And that might not happen Tuesday. That might happen Wednesday or Thursday. So it might just be fading off slowly until then. So it might not be in play, but if you see a huge panic with a ton of red candles like this, be looking for a bounce because typically it's going to follow. At this point, it's down a lot off of those highs. If there's any shorts who got in here, in the 5s, 7s, they might want to cover if there's a ton and then it starts bouncing. So you never know. On plays like this, it could still provide some type of opportunity that we want to capitalize on. So definitely have all these on your watch list. If you're not in the Discord already, definitely check it out. The link is in the description because it's easy to miss plays like this when there's so many stocks to be watching, but we're pretty much calling them out live as they happen. If this starts tanking and you want to be looking for a dip buy, I'm going to say that in the chat. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you. Bearded guy, you the man. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.